Hello and welcome to the summer's third edition of Derbyline. It is Sunday, June 15th, and we are stacked to the gills tonight. We'll run through tonight's show in a few minutes, but first I'd like to introduce my in-studio partner for the evening, which is the one and only Yaneda Trishu from the Thunder Bay Roller Derby League. Welcome to the show, Trishu.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So how are you doing tonight?
I am okay. A little nervous, but I'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can handle it.
Everyone's friendly. Nobody's going to call you up and yell at you, probably.
Let's hope.
So you're a skater here in town for the Thunder Bay Roller Derby League, and you skate on the home team here in town, the Grizzly Madams, as well as the travel team, the Babes of Thunder. Do you want to talk a little bit about how the season's been going for you skating-wise?
Skating-wise, I've been finding it a lot better than last year because I've only been in it for a year, just over a year. So I'm finding it to be like I'm learning a lot more and my skating skills are improving. And I got to jam in my last All-Star game, so that really made me happy.
So the last All-Star game, you guys went to Winnipeg, or we all went to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
We went to Winnipeg and played there. So how was that game? That was the first game out for the Babes of Thunder this season. So how'd that go for you?
I liked it. I really liked it once I got to jam. Like just because I really wanted to just push through those girls and knock them.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Nice to accomplish game goals always. I know in addition to your skating, you've also taken on the sponsorship for the league this year. So that's quite a hefty sort of off-track duty. What's that been like for you?
Well, what I did first off was I just went to everybody who I knew owned a business. I was like, just went to them right away. Yeah. And got a lot of sponsors that way. Okay. But I find like people don't follow up very much, so that's a little discouraging.
Sure, yeah.
And you feel like you don't want to haunt them.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want to be the haunt.
Of course, yeah.
And they never reply fast enough for me.
Yeah, of course. You're waiting and refresh.
Okay, you haven't emailed me back. No, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like the job.
Yeah. And I mean, is that sort of, I know you were involved, sort of off the track like everyone in Derby is last year, but obviously that was a sort of a more major role in terms of league administration. Do you find it more difficult to sort of fit Derby in as a whole, having taken on more responsibility, like juggling life duty and whatnot?
I like it because I've wanted to help I wanted to be an asset to the league. Sure. So I just really liked that I could take that on. And then I just found it was easy to squeeze it into my schedule because I thrive off doing stuff like this, like the sponsorship and the fundraising and after parties. Like I just like planning. I'm a planner.
Yeah, no, that's great. So you feel kind of more like you have a little bit of ownership of it and you're able to give back and then still, compete on the track. And,
make decisions and it's good. I like it.
Well, that's excellent. So that's good. So as far as sort of on the track this year, do you have like major goals for the season other than sort of getting to jam in All-Star games?
Other goals. I just would like to have better agility. Yes, and more endurance, obviously.
Yeah, you can never have enough of that.
Darn endurance.
Sure, yeah. So the Grizzly Madams took the first three games of the season. So
yes,
there's 2 games left for the Grizzlies and the L's, the 2 house teams here. So do you think the L's are going to come up with some redemption?
I don't know. The last game that we played against them was pretty crazy. Yeah. Like we only won by 2 points, I think.
Yeah, we talked about that with Cuddles a little bit last week.
Yeah, so that was a little intense. So I feel like they might come back. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah, for
sure.
But
I really feel like it's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty insane how the point spread has changed, throughout the last 3 games. The first game was obviously a big point spread for the Grizzlies, then smaller, and then last time it was
tight.
Yeah, razor freaking thin last time. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and run through kind of what the show is going to look like tonight, so everyone knows what they're in store for. So, first up, we're actually going to talk to Mamacita Muerte, who's from the Calgary Roller Derby Association. So they also played Winnipeg this morning. The Calgary All-Stars did. So one of Calgary's home teams played the Winnipeg All-Stars last night. Winnipeg took the win there, and then Calgary All-Stars took the win this morning against Winnipeg. So we'll hear about all that action. I believe there was another home team game there as well. So we'll hear about kind of what's going down in Calgary, and it seems like big things are kind of happening out there for them. So we'll hear a little bit about that. Yeah. And just in general, 2014, they're kind of tearing it up.
Yeah.
So then we're going to talk to Elbow, one of our favorites from last season of Derbyline. She was on it then as well, and she's going to give us a rundown of what happened last night when Atlanta played arch rival. So Atlanta kind of owned that game.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Defensively, it was quite a lockdown. So we'll hear a rundown on that, and Atlanta's also got some other big things on the table. So we'll we'll hear about what they're doing as well. We're also going to talk to Rhodes Warrior and Talls of the High Country Mountain Derby girls. They are whooping it up at the Golden Bowl all weekend long. So the Golden Bowl happening in the Bay Area this weekend. A bunch of good, awesome derby taking place there. Windy City, SoCal, Bad, and Angel City are all kind of hammering it out there. So big 6-game weekend of sanctioned WFTDA action.
Crazy.
And so we'll hear what's going on down there and get an idea of what that tournament's looking like. And then we will also be able to squeeze in, check in with Frankie Panky happening in Tampa. So we're going to talk to Eeyore Jamison of the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls. He's an announcer for them, and he's been there all weekend kind of talking derby and tweeting derby, and he's probably got zero voice left, but we'll see what he has for us on the show. And so that's everyone we're going to talk to on the schedule. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you definitely can if you're sitting at home. We have a phone number. It's 807-473-3800. We're on Twitter. You can tweet at us if you've got questions for one of our callers. You can call right in and talk to them. If you don't want to call long distance, as we are in Canada, and I know many of our listeners are not, you can get in touch with us. You can tweet us and we'll call you, or you can get on the chat room at camptv.ca and we can call you back if you put your phone number up there, or just tweet in questions and we'll get them on the air for you if you have questions for any of our guests. And that's what the show is looking like tonight. So for those of you who are watching at home, and maybe this is your first time watching Derbyline, the idea is we're here in Thunder Bay, Ontario, at the Camp TV studios, which we're lucky enough to use, and we are putting on a show about roller derby. So we want to talk to everybody and find out basically everything that's going on, from the smallest game to the biggest game. We want to talk to men, women, juniors, anything that's kind of going on in roller derby, and just get, everyone's take on what the weekend's been like, and really hear from sort of all the voices of the derbyverse out there. So if you want to get involved, please do feel free to do so. We would love to hear from you. So we'll get Mamacita Muerte up on the show in a couple minutes. But I guess as far as other things go, is there anything that you're sort of looking forward to this season, or as far as travel team season goes at the end of the summer? I know that things are going to be kind of coming back together for that. So
we're going to Timmins in September.
Going to Timmins in September. And also the Mid-State Sisters of Skate are going to come here to Thunder Bay in August. So
rematch.
Yes, rematch. So so I didn't make that trip last year. So do you want to? How was the game, and how much are you kind of looking forward to a rematch on the home turf?
I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch on the home turf. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was my first out of town game.
Okay.
Like leaving Thunder Bay to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I just found it a little different. It was a little different. Yeah. Just wasn't expecting it.
Okay. Yeah. And there was 2 games that weekend, right? So you went down and played.
I didn't play the second day.
Oh, okay. You had to go back.
It was a long day in the car for the kids.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't do that last jaunt.
Yeah. So I mean that's got to be something kind of tough in itself. So you ended up bringing your kids on that trip. So
it was a long drive.
Yeah.
In a vehicle with my mother to boot.
Right. Yay! 3 generations derby trip. So how is it like sort of managing sort of mom life and derby life? Is that
it's difficult just because like practice is late. Like it's not that late, but it's a little late during the school for the kids. So and then you have to bring them to practice and then stay away from the track. And then they sometimes venture close to the track.
Yeah.
But like I manage. I try my best to make my attendance, and if they have to come, they have to come. And
right.
So
yeah. I mean that's all you can kind of do. Yeah. And I mean as far as like you have a job that kind of allows you to make practices. And stuff
straight
like
days.
Straight days.
So that works for me for now. If I went to shift work, I really don't know what I would do. It'd be so sad.
Right. I mean, so your kids are how old now?
I have 7 and 4-year-olds.
7 and 4. Okay, so when you started, they were 5 and 2. Has it gotten easier as they've kind of gotten older?
It's gotten a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, because they enjoy it. I feel like they enjoy coming to the practice and watching, and I just hope my daughter is kind of, putting the little bug in her.
Right.
Like planting seed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, someday we'll have that junior league started.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, if anybody is listening in Thunder Bay and you have like a super safe space for us to practice, we would really appreciate it. Cause we
not even just for the juniors, but for all of us.
For us, but before we start recruiting young people, I think maybe we should have a slightly safer space than what we have now. Well, it sounds like we've got Mamacita on the line, so we'll see if maybe I think she's going to join us on Skype, so I hope she... Oh, hello, Mamacita's there. Hi. Can you see us?
Thank you.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing very well. So you guys have had a pretty big, sort of exciting weekend there in Calgary. Are you thoroughly exhausted from Derby?
Well, I don't get exhausted
Okay.
of Derby anymore.
Well, that's good. Handy for you. Yeah, so do you want to give us a little rundown of what games happened this weekend and kind of just a little recap of what you saw over the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of Derby this weekend, like you said. It basically started, and not all of it was with CRDA, with Calgary Roller Derby Association. There's a lot of surrounding leagues now. And on Friday night, there was a juniors game, which was Utter Annihilation versus the Misfit Toys.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're both fairly new juniors teams, so that was pretty close game. Can't exactly remember the score, about 20-point differential, so it's really cool to see more junior action picking up around here.
And competitive, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice because we have 2 junior leagues in the Calgary area.
Okay.
So, and then right after that, the East Side Wheelers, which kind of started up as a pickup team around here, but they've been consistently playing now. So they faced the Misfits of Mayhem from Central Alberta, and they won by quite a large margin. So that was Friday night. Okay. And then Saturday, the Winnipeg All-Stars actually came and played 3 games with different Calgary teams. So they faced off against the Killjills first, which is the women's team from the co-ed league here in Calgary, from Chinook City. Okay. So they played them first. I believe the score was 224-95 for Winnipeg, so Winnipeg did awesome.
Okay, yeah.
And then right after that, they came and played one of CRDA's house teams, the B52 Bellas.
Okay, yep.
And score was pretty similar there too. I believe 102 for the Bellas, and Winnipeg was in the 200s. I can't remember the exact
Yeah, it
score.
seems like that's about the same range as the other.
Yeah, really exciting game though. And then this morning, there was also the CRDA All-Stars, which is our WIFTA charter team.
Yep.
Against Winnipeg. It was actually, they were hosting us as one of their mock sanction bouts.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was awesome. And score for that was 295-103 for CRDA. So
yep.
Yeah.
So that's probably
a lot of games for Winnipeg to be playing.
Yeah, well, it's like good. I mean, you gotta pound them out, you know. So did that kind of go as expected for the Calgary All-Stars? I mean, I know like the Calgary was probably pretty much slated to win that game, but would that have been the point differential that you guys would have expected? And as far as like your team goals, were you able to kind of accomplish them?
Well, we exceeded expectations in terms of point differential. I think. Okay. It was expected to be about 2-1, and it was closer to 3-1 actually for us. So we did really well. But Winnipeg, I think once we got into the game, I think they had set goals for themselves to stop us from like doubling our points,
right? Yeah.
And to break 100 points for themselves. So they set little mini goals, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
For the game because they weren't going to hit the expected ratio for points. So. Okay. But everyone that was watching said that pretty much it was a really super exciting game. Like you couldn't tell where the points were at based if you were just watching and not looking at the scoreboard. So that's always good.
Right. Yeah. I was kind of following it on Twitter, and it seemed like Winnipeg was still pulling off a lot of stuff. Like I read about a couple, at least one apex jump and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, it seems like they're still going for it. They're not holding back at all. So yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah.
Absolutely. They're super talented skaters. When we were watching them a little bit, I said to one of our captains, it's like watching our team just a couple years ago where we had a lot of really talented skaters, but we hadn't really pulled it together as a team yet. So Winnipeg is definitely a team to watch in the next little bit, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We were actually just there 2 weeks ago. Was it 3 weeks ago? I have no sense of time. We were just there anyway, and we played against Winnipeg. So yeah, May 24th. That's when it was. And we played against Winnipeg. Yeah, great skaters, really hard hitting game, and yeah, definitely was awesome. So Calgary has obviously been really on an upward swing. Yeah, it seems like almost since you guys got full sanctioned WFTDA membership, you guys have really been on an upward swing. What's was that enough of a confidence boost getting the WFTDA sort of getting as accepted as a full member, or did other things sort of change for you guys in 2014?
I think it's been a combination of things. We had a couple skaters transfer from other leagues. So Barely Legal and Sinister came out from Tri-City. And they've been really good at uniting the team and the league in general and just giving us something to work towards. So once we decided that we were going to go WIFTA and the whole league kind of had a unified goal. I think that's one of the main factors of why the whole league has really improved. Not just our all-star team, but the skill level in the entire league went up because we're all working together now.
Right. Yeah.
And just in general, our team has been really focused on teamwork and team bonding.
Okay.
So that's been huge for us. WIFTA's been amazing too because we're getting to play at a higher level. Right. So for us, I mean, in this area, there's so many different skill sets. Just the range of skill within Alberta is crazy. It can go from super high level to just beginner, right? So it's hard for us to find WIFTA level play around here other than a few specific teams, right? So it's been great for us in that sense.
Okay, yeah. And I know you guys are going to the Maple Stirrup in August, right? So so that should be fun. I guess how much does that matter to you? Like, what does it mean to you guys to get to play sort of those Ontario teams that tend to get a lot of exposure because they're over there on the East Coast where everything's kind of, really close to each other and stuff like that? What does it mean to you guys to get to play those teams?
It means a lot to us because it's very rare that like an Eastern team and a Western team from Canada play each other because geographically in Canada, it's really tough, right? So as soon as we heard about the tournament, we were like, yep, let's do it. We're in. Right. And it's kind of within, that D2 level that that's where we're at right now, right? We started off as a D3 team, but one of our big goals for next year is to make it to D2 playoffs.
Okay, yep.
So I think playing the teams that are at Maple Stirrup will kind of help us achieve that goal. So we're really, really pumped for it.
For sure, yeah, getting some good triangulation and whatnot for rankings.
Yeah.
And how much does it matter to you guys? Like, we talk about this in Thunder Bay a lot. Like, for our travel team, like, it affects our girls in terms of like Canadian rankings. Like they, that matters a lot to people because they know the cities in Canada, and it's like, for them to be ranked above a city that they know in Canada might matter a little bit more to them sometimes than even being ranked, somewhere low within the WFTDA. So do you guys kind of feel the same thing? Like, does it kind of make a big difference to you when you play somebody like Winnipeg or somebody from Ontario and you're able to really like get ranked, high above them and kind of prove yourself within just the Canadian arena?
Yeah, that's been pretty big for us. I mean, we are really focused on the WIFTA rankings as well, but 2 years ago we were ranked something like 40th in the Canadian rankings, and I think last season was a huge season for us where we jumped up like a crazy amount of spots. We went from about 40th to, I think we finished in like 9th or 10th, so it was huge for us, right? We went from a team that nobody took seriously to someone to actually watch out for. And I think another big focus for us too has been the Canadian Power Rankings.
Okay. Yeah.
That the Derby Nerd does. So the Canadian Power Rankings crew, they put it out, I think, quarterly, and that's been big for us too, just to be considered one of the top 10 teams in Canada. It's amazing for us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's something that always kind of matters to our girls. Like, we got mentioned on the bubble, I think, once in the Canadian Power Rankings, and I was like, whoa, So getting the slide in there must feel pretty awesome. Does that kind of thing factor into sort of complex goal setting for you guys? Like, does it kind of make it like, are you able to set, let's say you do want to go to Division 2 next year, but as far as like this year, do you start to really set goals like inter-Canada, or do you kind of like, I mean, you must have like sort of smaller goals along the way. Does something like Canada versus US factor into that kind of complex goal setting for you guys, where you kind of break down goals and set mile markers for yourselves along the way?
Yeah, we kind of have been taking it one game at a time right now, especially this season because we had the few games at Wild West Showdown, right? And then our mid-season's been not as busy, right? We only had one game against the Kootenay Cannibals, and then just recently against Winnipeg. So we have been taking it game by game and setting little goals for each game for our team specifically, and a lot of like individual player goals. But for next season, I think that's going to come into play a little bit more.
Okay, interesting. Cool. Well, I guess, is there anything else that you guys have sort of on the radar that's coming up that you want to mention that Calgary's into, or is there anything other exciting things happening in sort of the Calgary area of roller derby?
Yeah, there's always exciting stuff happening around here.
That's good.
It's really cool because there's so many leagues now. I forgot to mention too, Saturday during the day there was another junior game, and then there's another team called the Rocky View Rebels, and they played against the Foothills League. So both are leagues that are just outside of Calgary, because there's quite a few of them now. And that was another really exciting game. The Rebels pulled out that win, 199-110, I believe. So it's really cool just seeing all of the surrounding areas starting to pick up their level of play too. So, but yeah, there's, in terms of like what Calgary's doing, we have a few more home games this season. Our home season is focused more on our house teams.
Okay.
But we bring in outside teams to play our house teams. They don't really play each other anymore, so that's been really exciting for our fan base to get to see a lot of other teams. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, our big focus right now is Maple Star Up. So
yeah, that'll be big for you guys, and I'm excited. I hope it's streamed because I won't be able to make it down for it. But yeah, I am excited to see you guys play there, and I love seeing East versus West. I mean, like, look how long it's been since Montreal and Vancouver have played each other, and they get to match up next weekend at ECDX. So it's
that's gonna be a good one.
yeah, I'm super excited for that. It's gonna be a barn burner. So we'll wish you guys luck and keep an eye on you guys throughout the season, and maybe we can check back in with you guys, later on when you guys are secured into D2 tournament next year.
Yeah, it's out there now. That's our goal, so we got to make it.
You're not that far off, though. You guys are 77th now, right? So
I think we started after Wild West Showdown, we came in at 88th, but because we've had a pretty inactive mid-season, we may have dropped due to inactivity, so we'll see where we end up by the end of the year. But yeah, next year's super important for us. So
yeah. Well, it's just about getting out there and doing it, but I think you guys are spot on the yeah, for sure. Okay, well, thanks so much for doing the show, and hopefully we talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. See you later, Mamacita.
Hey guys.
So we'll check in with Elbow in a couple minutes. Should be momentarily, pretty much. But I guess for you, how do you feel about kind of does it matter more to you when we, let's say, play and beat a Canadian team, or is it just like game by game?
I just like winning. I just like playing any team as long as we win. It excites me.
Yeah. So when you're driving out to Winnipeg and you've got you're going to play Winnipeg versus, let's say, Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Well, no, I really want to beat Stevens Point.
Right. Yeah. Well, we all want to beat everybody, but I mean, let's say for the guys at work, like you go in on Monday and they're like, "Did you beat Winnipeg?" It tends to matter to fans at least a little bit more. Yeah.
But unfortunately, the answer was we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't this time. We'll get them next time. Yeah, it was a pretty close game, that Winnipeg game, the whole way through. So, yeah. We'll take some lessons from Calgary.
Yeah,
heating it up. Calgary played a pretty awesome game last night. I was just following the tweets, but it seems like their offense and defense has really gotten tuned up this year. So I'm excited to see kind of what they have in store.
See where they go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be talking to Elbow in just a couple minutes, and just as kind of a preview of that game, it was super defensive. So we'll kind of get maybe some pointers on how their defense has gotten so locked down, because it was just unbelievable. Like, those arch rival Jammers looked like their endurance totally looked fine, but it looked like they were having a pretty rough time getting through. So,
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, let's say somebody like the Grizzly Madams, the first game, it was like the defense for that game was totally locked down. And then, subsequent games, the El Capones seem to bring a little bit more of a challenge. Do you find that just matters on the day? Like, as for you as a defensive player, like, does that just matter on the day, on the game, on what team you're playing?
I don't really know if it, I just don't know. I don't know. The second game, they just came back really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, third game too. Yeah. So it doesn't. It's just kind of if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I guess so. Yeah.
There's no factor for you that you need to like, lock it down.
No.
Yeah, because that first game we were like just tuned in. It felt the same way as it feels when a team's really owning it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really weird.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I think I hear him talking to her, so we should be online with her momentarily. But yeah, anything else you want to throw out there as far as the season goes?
I'm glad that we got a little bit of a break between between our last two games there. Gives us a chance to kind of recoup, get together.
Sure.
Heal up.
Cool. Well, it sounds like Elbow is ready to go.
Okay.
So we'll see if she's online. Elle, are you there?
Hello?
Hello. Hi, are you there?
I am.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Welcome back to the program. Thanks so much for doing it again this year. We loved having you last year. And yeah, we are excited to hear about your take on this Atlanta versus Arch Rival game last night, because it seemed like Atlanta was kind of owning it, as I was just saying.
They were. Are you guys getting an echo?
No, I'm not. But are you getting an echo on my end?
Yeah, I'm hearing myself say everything.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe we can see if... do you want us to try to call you back? Because we might be able to get the connection just a little bit better.
Is that okay? Am I ruining everything?
Sure. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, that's the way live that's the way live radio goes. Yeah, so we'll see if Steve can get you back online. And yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, I hear him kind of reconnecting her.
Yeah.
So,
how did you get your Derby name?
My Derby name?
Yeah. Sure.
Who asked the questions here?
I don't know.
My Derby name actually came from the Simpsons episode where Homer becomes a boxer, and all the people he's fighting up, like through the ranks and everything, they are all named like Boxcar Ira, Boxcar Fred, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, there's numerous other sort of boxcars throughout history and whatnot. But, yeah.
That was the main reason.
Yeah, that was the main reason. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny. How about you? You want to talk about your Derby name?
Well, mine's
you brought it up.
Yeah, I know. I kind of had a feeling as soon as the words left my mouth, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to explain mine now.
Well.
But no, I'm just was getting teased at work from some of the guys because I'm a welder and I was having a difficult time at first.
Sure.
So I'd get upset and I would sometimes cry.
Okay.
And so the guys took a welding wire box and wrapped it up in tinfoil tape, cut a big slit in the top and stuck a white rag in it, and they wrote tissues on the side of the box instead of tissues because I guess I used to cry. So a couple years later, probably like 4 years later, I joined roller derby and I needed a name, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of funny. I'm going to turn it around, and now it's Anita Tissue. So now when they announce my name, I pull out my tissue, wave it around. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, well, that's an excellent story, and I always love that story, to be honest with you. I just heard it for the first time a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it makes me so happy. And I think we're ready to try Elbow again. Elle, are you there? Oh, yay, good. So glad you're there.
Right
okay,
on.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the worst. I've had a couple phone calls like that where you're just like, I can't even concentrate.
I can't do it.
Makes my brain explode.
Yeah, totally. So last night's game, Atlanta owning it. Do you want to talk a little bit about how it looked from your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I was doing the text cast for it, and I was following the DSPG pack and the DSPG blockers and just kind of talking about that on the text cast. And I just remember typing a million times, okay, there's a grand slam, and there's another one, and there's another one. And so it was just a ton of jams where our jammers, the DSPG jammers, were just racking up 15, 20, and 25 points.
Right, yeah. So they weren't even like nickel and diming it. It was like, putting up 15 or 20 points at a time. It wasn't like 5-0, 5-0, 5-0. It did seem like those jams ran a little bit longer, partially because Arch Rivals jammers were having a crazy time getting through that. I did get to watch it online, thankfully. And it seemed like Arch Rivals jammers were having a crazy time getting through that defense.
They really were. And I think another part of what was happening is that their blockers were kind of having to switch back and forth between offense and defense so quickly that they weren't effectively able to form these tough walls.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and they kind of get pulled into that, like, I'm going to play offense. Oh, no, defense. Oh, no, offense. Like that vortex where you're just kind of like, kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Another one. I mean, their jammers, like, God love them. They seem to have, quite a bit of endurance. They didn't actually look that flagged, but they just couldn't get that final push through that pack. Has Atlanta been sort of, like, is there anything different they've been doing as far as, like, footwork or agility or conditioning that's, made that defense kind of gel, or is it just...
I can't tell you. I don't go to the DSDG practices, so I couldn't tell you what they're doing individually. But I do know that this is going to sound kind of... I think this is true for a lot of leagues out there, but we don't have any air conditioning in our practice space. And it's like... It's been in the mid-90s.
Right, yeah.
For a long time. So I know that they've been working their endurance that way.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, that's a pretty good way. I mean, yeah, no air conditioning in Atlanta. Sounds pretty good. And then offensively speaking, it seems like Atlanta kind of has a new answer in the form of Choke Cherry. When I was watching her play, I assumed that she was a transfer because I was like, whoa, I've never seen this girl. She was really putting it on. But she's actually been with Atlanta for a few years, and that was just one of her first travel team games. Is that correct?
That is correct. She is technically a transfer. She started out in Classic City, which is the Athens League, about an hour and a half away from here. And she transferred to Atlanta, I want to say, in like 2010 or 2011. And she skated on the B team. And this is her first year with the Dirty South Derby.
Okay, yeah. So was it just a matter of kind of working her into that jammer rotation slowly, or was it just kind of her skill level tended to ramp up, or was there kind of a hole there for a new jammer on the Atlanta roster?
I think it's a combination of all of those. They did have one of the Dirty South Derby girls, one of their main jammers, Hala Seidel. She joined the Peace Corps this year, so she's no longer skating, unfortunately. Fortunately for the rest of the world, but unfortunately for us.
Right, yes.
So there was a spot that was open, and I think that Choke Cherry, she really responded to the training that she was getting.
Okay, yeah.
Because she was really good. And then when she started training with the SDG, she got even better.
Right, yeah. So she's just one of those people that, manages to somehow try things for the first time and be awesome at them. Like, you just needed to do that. Yeah, I did actually look at her profile on the Dirty South Derby Girls website today, which we have up also on screen right now, and read her profile, and I was like, she's never even been athletic before. That's not fair.
Right.
Yeah. So, I know Atlanta also heads to ECDX next weekend, and the DSDG are going to play Gotham and Philly. So how is, I guess, the preparations for that going? Do you have any perspective on that?
I know that mentally they're more ready than they've ever been in their life.
Okay. Wow.
One of the things that I've seen DSDG grow up in terms of, increasing their game has been their mental approach to training and to playing these tough games against people like Gotham.
Right.
I think that several years back they would have been like, oh my gosh, okay, we're playing Gotham. This is going to be a really tough game, you guys. But I think now they're like, you know what, we're playing Gotham. This is going to be a tough game, and we're going to own what we can own.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Does having a skater like Wild Cherry who, used to skate for Gotham, does that kind of help them with that sort of mental perspective? And in terms of like, she's been there, she can say kind of like, hey guys, I've played at that level, we can do it too?
I think probably yes. I remember when Wild Cherry transferred to Atlanta and DSDG started performing at a really high level. And I noticed that it wasn't just because Wild Cherry was there and like doing all of her play tricks, and all the things that she does.
Right.
I think that she actually brought a sense of cohesion to the team. So having her there has been a huge boon to them, but it's not like her just doing stuff by herself.
Right, yeah, it's not like she came in and scored and was the top jammer for every game, or even, she's not always even maybe the top blocker for every game. I mean, she's an amazing skater, but yeah, sometimes you just need that sort of presence to kind of encourage people to, take it a little bit farther, or sometimes that person is just a really galvanizing force. Like we were just talking to Mamacita Muerte from Calgary, and she was saying they had the two transfer skaters from Tri-City that kind of did the same thing for their league. They came in and were kind of like, they got WFTDA around the same time, and it was just that kind of galvanizing thing that, the whole team's kind of like, oh, okay, yes, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
The other thing I noticed that was interesting about Atlanta's schedule this summer is that you guys, or at least the Derby South Derby girls, will continue to kind of play even after that sort of June 30th rankings cap. And a couple of the other leagues we've talked to, let's say Boston or even somewhat Philly, they kind of say, like, after June 30th, they tend to go back and they, really just hammer down and practice and work on their strategy and kind of tinker with things until playoffs. Do you think that's intentional on Atlanta's part, that they're kind of continuing to play throughout the summer and continue to put themselves out there and play even highly ranked games, let's say against Naptown?
Yeah, I know that they have the mentality that you get better by skating.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I think that they're just trying to play as much as they possibly can.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And as far as Atlanta's home teams go, are the travel team skaters in Atlanta still playing for home teams, or have they moved on to travel team only?
They have the option.
Okay.
And there are only 2 skaters who don't skate for a home team.
Okay, right. So that gives a big bonus too, just being able to kind of skate in the home teams, all summer long and stuff like that. I mean, at least I find, I'm not in a position to start giving up home team games because I need to play them.
Yeah, we love our home teams.
Yeah, and you guys have a great crowd for your home team setup and everything too. Great. So yeah, it looks like Atlanta's got a really exciting summer going on. Is there anything I didn't mention that's exciting going on either in Atlanta or sort of surrounding area roller derby?
Oh, man. It's so hot. I can't think of anything else. We actually, obviously we had a game yesterday, and I played in a home team game, and so today has just been my kind of relaxation day, and I'm like, I'm not thinking about anything today.
Right. Just turn off the brain.
I had one of those days too.
So I guess last time we talked to you, actually, you were just coming back into roller derby from having taken a sort of mini retirement. So you're back on home teams now. And how's that been going for you for the last year?
It's been great. I came out of retirement last year, and I was on the home team that I was on, back before I retired. And then at the beginning of the season, I actually changed teams.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of realized that maybe I just need some change.
Yeah.
And it's been really great.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't even elaborate on it. It's been so much fun.
Oh, that's fine. No, I was just curious actually, because when we set the interview up today, I was wondering if you were back playing, or because I had seen you text casting last night, so I wasn't sure if you were back playing or if you were still just announcing. But it's great that you can kind of still do both sides, and that the home team format kind of allows you to do that. So that's very interesting. Okay, great. So well, I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of explain what's going on in Atlanta. We really like to keep an eye on you guys. You're fun people, and and we like you.
We do our best.
And yes, thank you for being on the show once again this year. And yeah, well, hopefully we can check in with you again maybe around tournament time.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Elle. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
And it sounds like we are ready to move on to our next caller. I think Rhodes Warrior and Talls. Oh, there they are. Hi, guys. Can you hear us okay? So you guys are out there in the Bay Area, the windy Bay Area. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
A little bit.
Okay, good. So you guys are live from the Golden Bowl. What sort of is happening right now at that event?
Well, at this moment right now, they're getting ready for the last game of the tournament, which is going to be Bad All-Stars versus Angels City Scarlets. Yeah. So they're doing warm-ups, and they're raffling off tickets to be able to sit in a couch that's right there between the apex between turns 1 and 2.
Okay, awesome. So I'm glad that you guys aren't missing a game to talk to us, but I appreciate you taking the time to do it. So I'm actually most maybe excited to hear about that last game, because I'm hoping that somebody can hang tough with Bad for a little bit at least. Like, Bad is destroying people this weekend. Despite the big score differences, though, does it seem like the teams are all kind of accomplishing sort of what they've gone there to do, or it's gone according to expectations? Like, how does the sort of feeling there? Like, are people kind of disappointed by some of the blowouts?
There really haven't been any upsets at all.
Yeah.
Everything's going reasonably as it would have been predicted. closest game this far has been Windy City versus Angel City, which was a really good game.
Okay, yeah.
It was like a 35-point difference or something along those lines.
Yeah, I've got it. It was 177 to 142. So on Saturday, I know Windy City had maybe not done as well as they'd expected against Bay Area. That was 225 to 48 for Bay Area. Would you guys say that was more of a blowout than was expected? Because I think most people would have expected Windy City to kind of go a little bit further in that one.
I expected them to go a little bit further, but then again, Bad had a really good game. They had very low penalty box time.
Okay, yeah.
Bad definitely brought their A game, and I think, at least on my behalf, I really expected that.
Okay.
And so I was really excited to see Windy City, just to see what kind of style they were going to have, but definitely Windy City versus Angel City was the game to watch.
Was the game to watch.
And so that was Bad. I was like, well, let's just see what happens.
Okay, yeah. So let's say for SoCal, would you say that they're going to walk away from this weekend somewhat happy because they lost, let's say, 505 to 45 to Bay Area on Saturday, and then SoCal lost 455 to 61 to Angel City yesterday as well. Would you say that that was kind of how they were expected to do this weekend, and that was? We've talked a little bit about like complex goals, how teams are, maybe not just setting out to win, but they're setting out to, live up to the point differential that was kind of expected of them. Would you say that was true for SoCal?
Yeah, they're definitely playing for point differentials. I've heard that they changed their strategy lines a little bit to play to a point differential as opposed to getting no points and stopping the other team's jammer, playing more offense for their jammer.
Okay, sure. So they're trying to get a little bit more points out of it rather than maybe just play defense or whatever. So that could account for, yeah.
Whenever they were able to get lead jammer, there was no call-offs. They just let the clock roll and just got as many points as possible.
Okay, interesting.
That seems like something that would be against their instincts otherwise to do.
Right, yeah. It's interesting, though, because we were talking to Punchio Guts from Maine last week, and she was saying similar things about trying to get point differential for them to climb up through the rankings as well, because they're lower Division 2, and, they're kind of looking to move up the rankings, and they were saying that's one of their measurable goals is to be able to kind of run the clock and get as many points as they can, not just, nickel and dime it. So that's interesting. So are there things that you guys have seen this weekend that maybe were unexpected, and even in terms of strategy or gameplay? I heard that the panty pass was back in a big way. Like that was making a big comeback.
There were all kinds of panty passes. A lot of them hit the floor, and people have really know how to stand over the panty and not let anyone pick it back up.
Okay,
that
interesting.
Was definitely mostly for the SoCal games. Yeah, there was definitely an exciting moment of seeing someone crawl between the legs of skaters to grab the helmet cover and then take off.
Right, yeah.
So that was pretty entertaining to see that successfully happen.
It kind of sounds like, I don't know, a little bit like Harlem Globetrotter-esque or something, like someone's going to get a ladder out and like, I don't know. It sounds kind of funny to me.
Just from that instance, the excessive helmet covers definitely were getting to the point of being comical almost.
Okay,
that's something that the sponsors here pointed out, was that it became a game that we recognized the times that a panty pass didn't happen more than that they did happen. But that hasn't been the case for every game.
Okay, yeah, well, that's good. So mostly in the SoCal games, then, that was like they were trying to pass the panty quite a bit. I mean, that kind of makes sense. You got your jammer stuck in there. You really want to get her out. So, yeah, that's good. Is there any other sort of strategies that you guys have seen for the first time, or other things that you're kind of noticing?
They're playing really, really tight packs. If you weren't looking at the score, a lot of the times you wouldn't know who was in the lead.
Right.
These teams are pretty well evenly matched. It more or less is just coming down to the penalty box time and who's on their game.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So for a lot of these teams, like we're talking about sort of how people are kind of playing for the point differential and rankings, does it seem like now these days, even let's say like where you guys play for High Country Mountain, is it the kind of thing where you can go in and absorb a loss and still chalk it up as a win just due to the point differential that you kind of ended up with? Do you guys find that's true even at the level, at the High Country Mountain level that you're playing at?
I would say so, because it does get to the point where you are playing against these teams that are incredibly high level, and so the differential really makes the difference more than the win or loss.
Right.
Like SoCal should be proud of how they skated this weekend, because they did really well, even if they didn't win their games.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I guess there's a lot more like sort of number crunching, it seems, these days. Like players are even able to look at, who they're going to play, and they're like, if we can score this many points, like if we can hold them to 600 and then we can do this, like they know exactly kind of how it's going to measure out in the rankings. It's like they have this complex algorithm that I don't even understand. Yeah.
At the same time, it gets a little ridiculous when they have to hold the team to not 600 points.
Right.
Excessive.
yeah. I mean, I saw the Steel Hurton game from this weekend. They played Little Steel, I think, and it was like 797-3 or something. Like it was absolutely insane. I was like, that's not even a scoreboard anymore.
Three win in my book.
But that jammer was like, I scored 3. Yeah, totally. So that's interesting. So for you guys, how is your season going in Sonora? Are there exciting stuff happening for the summer?
Actually, a lot of our summer games got canceled by a bunch of teams who kind of don't want to play us, I guess.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're having similar issues in Thunder Bay, actually. We're having a 5-on-5 tournament in 2 weeks because we couldn't get anybody up for the summer. So we're doing instead of a travel team game, we're doing a 5-on-5. So that should be fun. But yeah, it gets rough isolated.
We're pretty excited to plan some exhibition bouts in our local area to try and pull some fresh meat and
Sure.
add to our own derby community. So that's our big goal right now.
Okay.
And focusing on the junior roller derby as well.
Oh, right. You guys have got that going. Oh, yeah. So, Talls, you're actually a graduate of the junior roller derby program, right, in Sonora? Right. Yeah. So how long have you been playing in the adult league there?
This is my second season.
Okay.
Being
Nice.
in the adult league.
Yeah.
Captain this year. Yay, nice.
Nice, very nice. Well, that's very cool. Yeah. Great. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us today, and enjoy the last game of the Golden Bowl. I hope that it's going to be the best game. I'd love to see Angel City kind of step in there and give Bad a little bit of a run for their money, because I think that'd be awesome. At least hang for the first half or something, like that'd be sweet. But yeah, it's fun to watch Bad destroy people kind of too. Well, thanks so much, and I know you guys are there with my sister, so tell her hello. And yeah. Yeah. So that's my twin sister. Everybody who's watching at home, it's Dinosaurus Rex and her league mates.
Right on. That's exciting.
Well, thanks so much for checking in, guys. That was fun. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to talk to you again. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Bye, guys.
Bye. Aw.
Yeah. Great. So I think
was
we
cool.
have our that's funny. Yeah, my sister's out there. I know they won some free wine at some point. So
Oh. See, I thought you guys were like identical.
yeah, we are identical. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really? I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, from her yelling into the windy
Yeah, I was
phone.
like, it's a small little. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it sounds like we've got Eeyore ready to go. So we'll see if he's ready to check in from Frankie Panky. Eeyore, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, I am.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing very well. So you're at the opposite coast. We were just talking to people in the Bay Area at the Golden Bowl. So you were down in Tampa at the Frankie Panky event. And what's the scene there like right now? Is the last game going on?
It just ended, actually, as we speak. So they just announced the MVP jammer and the blocker, and New Jacks took away a win from Tampa.
Okay, great. I was kind of following that on Twitter right before the show started, kind of trying to figure out what was going to go on. So what was the final score of that game?
Yes.
Or who won?
It was,
New Jacks won.
218, 138, something like that. It was about a 70, 80 point win by Jacksonville.
Okay, wow. Okay, great. Yeah, it seems like Jacksonville was kind of were they undefeated this weekend there?
Yes, actually, I believe they were undefeated here, and they also went 10-0 for the season so far.
Okay, yeah. I watched them play for the first time last year at divisionals, and I was like, "Who are these people?"
Oh,
Yeah.
they were phenomenal. Actually, all the people that were up here or down here, I should say, at Frankie Panky were absolutely. It was a level of derby that I'm not used to.
Okay.
But being from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, you don't see a lot of really high level derby other than the Minnesota Roller Girls.
Right, yeah. We're just north of the Minnesota Roller Girls, so we're in Thunder Bay, Ontario. So we're about 6 hours north of Minnesota ourselves. So that's the next big stop for us as well. So we know exactly what you mean. Is that your first year? Is that your first year at the Frankie Panky event?
Yes, indeed. Actually, I was asked here after I announced for the beach ball in Fort Lauderdale. A lot of the same announcers came over and were from Tampa, and they said, "Hey, if you're able to come and do the Frankie Panky with us." And I was very fortunate that I had a coworker that won a free airplane ticket that was about to expire, so he gave it to me.
Oh, excellent. That's quite lucky.
Exactly. You can't ask for anything any better.
Right, yeah. So that event has been going on for a couple years, so it's probably starting to get that feeling of like, those other events that happen every year, Brouhaha, ECDX, where it's kind of like a little bit of a Derby homecoming. You get to go and see all your Derby friends, that kind of thing. That's great.
Yeah, and it was funny because we saw a lot of people from Tampa, a lot of the alumni that I got to meet from people, skaters that don't skate anymore. So it really kind of turns into that homecoming, and it brings in a lot of other Florida teams as well.
Right. Yeah. That's great. And I guess as far as on-track action goes, was there anything sort of unexpected, maybe teams or skaters that really stood out that people, you heard a lot of people talking about over the weekend? Was there anything?
Well, I had I don't know, the MVP that was created for the tournament, the MVP jammer and the MVP blocker, they were both ones that were very, very fun to watch. MVP blocker was a girl from Tampa named Little A.
Oh, yeah.
And she is probably no more than 5.5 feet, and she doesn't look like a typical blocker, but she was just a force against the jammer of the other team. Of course, they just couldn't get by her.
Right. Yeah.
And the MVP the jammer was Krispy Kremer from Jacksonville, and she was really fun to watch. But I tell you, what really took it away, and I think was the best bout for the whole thing, was really the juniors that played.
Oh, that's great. So what ages of juniors did they have playing? Was it like 13 to 17 or even younger?
It was. It looked like it was a little bit younger, so it probably was about 10 to 17.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always really enjoy getting to watch Junior Derby because they're just like when I lived in Portland before this, so we had a junior league there, and like it was just so much fun to watch those kids skate, and they just love it so much. You know what I mean? It means so much to them. Not that it doesn't mean a lot to the adult skaters as well, but it's I feel so lucky to see them have found it.
And the thing for myself, we just started a junior team 2 years ago. We're just starting the second season in Sioux Falls. And so a lot of those junior skaters are really inexperienced, and you don't really expect a lot from other than, just amazing seeing them get back up and take another hit and another hit.
Right.
But they have had junior derby here for, I think it's 4 or 5 seasons, and you can tell that it is just the level of junior derby here that I saw tonight was, honestly, I was afraid that either team, they would have made the team in Sioux Falls look really childish. I hate to say that, but they were really, really good team. You could tell they've played together for a long time, and even Tampa had a skater that came up through the ranks. She started out as a junior skater, and she became a jammer for the Tampa Tantrums, and that's Apollo Anna.
Oh, okay, yep.
And she was amazing to watch as well.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And so you got a chance to also tweet throughout the weekend, right? So you were able to kind of did you absorb just a ton of information? Because I can't imagine just being able to type that fast and get all those names down and stuff like that, especially, it wasn't even your home league, so you were trying to have to probably memorize a ton of stuff. So
it was fun to do, but are you taking it, man? All right. I'm sorry. People are leaving right now. So.
Oh, yeah, no, you got to get your goodbyes in.
Okay. What were we talking about?
Oh, tweeting. So was that your first time sort of live tweeting?
Okay, I will get a ride.
Party's starting up over there.
No, tweeting was a different experience. I had a lot of fun with it because I love social media.
Sure.
So doing the live tweeting was actually pretty easy for me, but when the action got to be really fast, when you see those 30-second, 45-second jams, you really can't get anything in fast enough. So it was one of those things that I like to make as many updates as possible because I've been there where I haven't been able to watch anything and just be able to read the stuff on Twitter, and I just want to say, yeah, I know exactly where that person's coming from.
Right.
A person from hundreds of miles away, because they had people from Oklahoma and from Maryland and all over the place. So I just wanted to make sure that they felt like they were here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was great. I mean, and I end up following a lot of Twitter feeds, the event wasn't streamed, but I would have been watching it maybe partly. But even then, when you're out of the house, you can keep up with the game, and you never know what piece of information is going to matter to someone. So just being able to put that information out there as rapidly as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Well,
so
I kind of figure that any information is better than nothing.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Take what you can get.
Yeah.
So it seems like there might be some pretty big repercussions as far as a lot of these teams go. Let's say maybe Jacksonville, Charm City. Like, do you think that that bout turned out to be super close, which maybe was expected? But I'm not sure everyone expected Jacksonville to take the win on that one. Do you think that's going to affect those teams?
Yeah, I expect to see Jacksonville and Charm City. Take care, man. Nice meeting you, man. Jacksonville and Charm City seeing a lot of movement on the WIFTA rankings.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, we'll let you.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah. No, you got to get your goodbyes.
City,
yeah, we know you're right in the middle of the action.
I was going to say Charm City. I could see them moving down maybe 5 or 6 ranks after seeing what happened with Beach Brawl.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And also, I know you probably got to get to the after party, but I do want to ask you about Santa Cruz, because Santa Cruz is a big question mark in my book. I haven't really gotten to see them play. I was surprised to see that they were going there this weekend. So what did Santa Cruz look like this weekend, and how do you think they're going to do sort of postseason?
Santa Cruz looked okay.
Okay.
They were probably on the weaker side for the teams that were here. I was just looking at who they played. Obviously, Charm City had their way with them.
Okay.
But when they went up against Columbia, I think, didn't Columbia win that one?
I think Santa Cruz went 2-1 this weekend, so I think the Santa Cruz took that game. Because I think the only game, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the only game Santa Cruz lost this weekend was against Charm City.
Okay. Yeah, and I do apologize. My memory is horrible.
Oh, yeah. No, and you just talked for a whole weekend, so yeah. No, that's great.
Little my fingers are tired.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and probably your brain, too. So we'll let you go enjoy the after party and hang out with your, all your people and have a couple beers and relax. And, thanks so much for being on the program. I really appreciate getting the phone in from Frankie Panky since, we were all just reading about it over the weekend.
Yeah. Well, and I do know that they want to do a live feed so bad because they did that last year.
Yeah.
They had a lot of people really enjoyed that. But it's one of those things, I think it was just more of a technical issue. And we had a horrible time trying to get the Twitter feed even to work.
Oh, okay.
I know we were not only doing a laptop, but every now and then someone would just have to bring it up on their phone and be able to just fill in the gaps in the time being. So
right, yeah.
But I appreciate the opportunity and for the interview. Thank you. It's a great meeting you, Boxcar. Sometimes, hopefully, we can get you down to Sioux Falls and we can meet in person.
Yeah, I'd love to. We'd love to do that. Yeah, we should be in contact. So, yeah, thanks so much for doing the show, and have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Great. So we are coming to the very end here. So I'll do a couple wrap-up things. I'd want to thank Camp TV again and thank everybody back in the studio. So we've got Katie back there, Steve, I will, eventually learn everyone's names who's back there. Yeah, thank you to everyone who works on the show and makes it possible every week. We really do appreciate it, that we just get to sit and talk about roller derby for an hour every week. I want to talk about next week a little bit. Next week is ECDX, so we'll definitely be checking in with someone from there. That's a giant event for those of you who may not know. Is giant event outside of Philadelphia, so tons of stuff's going to go on down there, and it's sort of the last chance to get games in before the rankings cap on June 30th. So a bunch of high level derby is going to happen there. So we'll definitely be checking into ECDX. We're also going to have our first ever sort of Derbyline debate. So if you'd like to play for a copy of Frisky Sour's really awesome book, Roller Derby for Beginners, you definitely want to pay attention to us on social media this week and get your names in, because you can put your name in to win, and we'll be playing. We'll have some people playing on the show for you to win a copy of the book. So stay tuned throughout the week for us announcing that, and you can get your names in for them to play for you at home. So that'll happen throughout the week. And if you'd like to get in touch with us throughout the week for any reason, definitely feel free to. If you've got a recap of a game, it doesn't have to be a high-level game. We'd love to hear about any roller derby that's going on. We want to talk to everybody. So anything you want to talk to us about, be sure to get in touch. You can find us on Twitter at Derbyline Radio, or on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/Derbyline Radio, and be sure to get in touch with us anyway. I will definitely write you back if you get in touch with us. So do it. And other than that, we'll wish you guys a great week, and hope everybody's derby seasons are going well this summer, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Deep sea diver in a shallow bay. You're a star prize fighter.